This message is not for the comfortable. It's not for the ones pretending they're fine while silently dying inside. This is for the one who knows they're in a war, and they're tired of losing. I came here to tell you something that your silence won't say. That thing you run to in the dark. It's running your life in the light. That habit you think you control, it's already controlling you. Addiction doesn't always look like a needle. Sometimes it looks like scrolling for hours. Sometimes it looks like overeating your pain. Sometimes it wears a smile in public and cries behind a locked door. And the truth is, no demon will ever leave quietly. You will either confront it or be consumed by it. You will either master it or be mastered. Because addiction doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your potential. It doesn't care how strong you were last year. It only cares about one thing, owning you. And if you let it linger, it will rob you blind. It will kill the fire in your eyes. It will turn you into a slave with a smile, dancing while dying. But I didn't come here to entertain you. I didn't come here to coddle weakness. I came to speak life into your battlefield. Because you are not weak. You are not broken. You are not hopeless. You are a warrior that forgot who you are. And today we reclaim that. Stay with me. Don't scroll, don't exit. Because this is not just another speech. This is warfare. If you're ready to be free, truly free, then lock in. You control your addiction, or your addiction will control you. Let's begin that you see, the problem isn't that you're addicted. The real problem is that you've been pretending you've been telling yourself it's not that serious, that you can stop anytime, that it's just a phase, that it's under control. But deep down, in the quiet moments, when nobody's around and the masks fall off, you know the truth. You're not in control. It is. And the longer you lie to yourself, the stronger it gets. What you don't confront will always control you. Addiction grows in the shadows. It feeds on denial. Every time you excuse it, you empower it. Every time you avoid looking it in the face, it sinks deeper into your bones. It starts with one compromise, one small indulgence, one justification. It's been a hard day. I deserve this. It's just one more time. But what starts as a choice slowly becomes a chain. And chains don't break with silence. Chains break with truth. You can't fight what you won't face. You can't be free from what you refuse to name. This isn't just about substance. This is about anything that rules over you. It could be alcohol, yes. But it could also be pornography, gambling, food, validation, attention. That constant need to numb, to distract, to escape. The enemy doesn't care what it is, only that it owns you. And I need you to understand this. Addiction doesn't ask permission. It invades. It takes root. It rewires your mind. It whispers in your ear that you're weak, that you need it to survive. But that's a lie. You weren't born addicted. You weren't born a prisoner. Something happened. Somewhere along the way, pain entered. Trauma entered. Disappointment, betrayal, fear. It cracked open a door, and something slipped in. But just because it got in, doesn't mean it gets to stay. You have a choice. Even when it feels like you don't, you do. You are not powerless. You are not doomed. You are not stuck. But you'll never reclaim your authority if you keep pretending you're okay. Stop calling bondage your comfort. Stop calling chains your coping mechanism. You're not coping. You're crumbling. And the worst part is, you've learned how to function in your dysfunction. You've learned how to smile while suffering, to perform while poisoned. But sooner or later, the truth demands attention. Sooner or later, the weight gets too heavy to carry. That moment, the breaking point, it's not your end. It's your invitation. It's the point where you finally say, no more lies. No more hiding. No more running. You can't keep managing what needs to be destroyed. You can't keep feeding what's killing you. Because here's the truth. The more you protect it, the more it will possess you. Addiction isn't just about behavior. It's about surrender. It's about what owns your mind, your time, your thoughts, your body. And if you don't take control, it will. Every single day, it's making a bid for your life. It's not satisfied with occasional use. It wants total domination. It wants to rob you of your clarity, your confidence, your calling. And it will, if you keep pretending you're fine. This is your moment to choose confrontation over comfort. It's not easy, but it's necessary. You have to drag that thing into the light. You have to say, yes, I've been battling this. Yes, it's been winning, but I'm done being silent. I'm done being passive. I'm done letting this thing write my story. It's time to confess, is not for shame, but for freedom. Because anything you hide has power over you. But anything you expose loses its grip. You may be broken, but you're still breathing. You may be addicted, but you're not abandoned. There is a warrior in you. And the first act of war is honesty. This is where healing begins. Not when you feel strong, but when you get real. When you stop playing games with your destiny. When you decide you'd rather be uncomfortable for a season than enslaved for a lifetime. What you don't confront, you'll always be controlled by. Today you make the decision to confront it. Every craving is not just a feeling. It's a fork in the road. A test of what you truly believe about yourself. And every time it shows up, it's asking you the same question. Will you choose purpose or will you choose pleasure? Because make no mistake, every addiction is built on pleasure. On the lie that comfort matters more than calling. On the illusion that what feels good now is worth more than what you're becoming later. But the truth is, you weren't created to be comfortable. You were created to be called, to carry weight, to carry purpose, to carry vision. But addiction weakens your grip on that vision. It steals your hunger for meaning and replaces it with an appetite for ease. And the more you feed that appetite, the more your spirit forgets what it means to fight. That's how it starts. You stop choosing discipline and start choosing distraction. You stop chasing growth and start chasing relief. And you convince yourself it's just for now, just one more time, just this once. But the craving doesn't stop. It keeps coming. Not because you're weak, but because your purpose threatens everything that addiction is trying to kill. The moment you start moving toward your calling, the temptation increases. Because that habit, that pleasure, it wants you bound. It wants you too distracted to rise, too numb to hear God, too busy feeding your flesh to feed your soul. And you think it's just about the dopamine, just a chemical, just biology. No, it's spiritual. It's a war for control. Every moment you say yes to addiction, you're not just giving into a craving, you're bowing to a false god, one that offers you escape in exchange for your authority. One that says, just take this and forget for a while, but never tells you that forgetting comes with a price. Your peace, your clarity, your discipline, your purpose. And here's what most people won't tell you. Sometimes the enemy will give you pleasure on purpose. He will let you feel good in your dysfunction, so you don't seek deliverance. He will let you experience false peace, so you never taste real freedom. Because real freedom costs. Real freedom costs. Real freedom comes through resistance, through discipline, through hunger for something greater. That's why every craving is a crossroads, a decision point. Not just between addiction and abstinence, but between smallness and greatness, between survival and legacy. There's always a moment, before the scroll, before the click, before the drink, before the call, a moment where your soul cries out, "Is this who I want to be?" And that moment is your power. That moment is your doorway to freedom. Not because the craving disappears, but because you decide, my purpose is worth more than my pleasure. My future is worth more than my feeling. You're not just saying no to a habit. You're saying yes to the version of you that's been buried under years of compromise. You're saying yes to strength, to clarity, to being fully alive. Every time you choose purpose over pleasure, you are rewiring your soul for victory. You're teaching your flesh that it doesn't run the show anymore. You're saying, I may feel this craving, but I am not this craving. I am not this addiction. I am not this weakness. I am more. And hear me, you will still feel the temptation. You might still hear that voice telling you it's not that serious. But the strength isn't in the silence of the craving. The strength is in your response to it. When you start saying no, the craving may scream louder for a season. That's not failure. That's resistance. That's what breaking free sounds like. So don't wait to feel strong. Don't wait until the craving disappears. You act in the middle of the storm. You make your decision when everything in you is shaking. Because that's where true power is born, not in comfort, but in conflict. That's when you show your addiction it picked the wrong person to play with. That's when you stand at the crossroads and say, today I choose purpose. Today I choose life. Today I choose to remember who I am. And when you fall, and yes, you might fall, you don't run back into shame. You rise, you return, you get back to that crossroads and you choose again. Because freedom isn't a one-time decision, it's a daily one, a constant one. Every craving is a crossroads, and every choice is shaping who you become. So the next time the craving comes, don't ask, how do I get rid of this feeling? Ask, what kind of future am I building right now? Because pleasure fades, But purpose builds legacies. The enemy doesn't need you to be loud. He just needs you to be silent. Silent about your struggle. Silent about your pain. Silent about the addiction that keeps pulling you back under just when you think you're breaking free. Because silence is where shame thrives. Silence is where strongholds grow. You think keeping quiet protects your image, but in reality, it protects your prison. Addiction survives in secrecy. It feeds off isolation, and the longer you keep it hidden, the deeper it digs in. The enemy isn't afraid of your weakness. He's afraid of your voice. Because the moment you speak, you break the agreement. You break the lie. You tear the mask off the thing that's been masquerading as comfort, as escape, as just a bad habit. And once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. That's why your silence is his weapon. His weapon. He's banking on you staying quiet, pretending you're fine, convincing yourself that nobody would understand. That nobody would accept you if they knew what you were really battling. But here's what no one tells you. The people who look the strongest on the outside are often the ones fighting the biggest wars on the inside. You're not alone in this. You're not the only one battling demons behind closed doors. And you're not crazy for struggling. You're human. But humans need connection. We weren't built to carry this kind of weight alone. And yet that's what addiction does. It isolates you. Makes you believe you have to fight in the dark by yourself, bleeding in silence because asking for help feels like defeat. But asking for help isn't weakness. It's warfare. It's a declaration that you refuse to be owned, that you refuse to die silently, that you refuse to let your silence be the death sentence of your destiny. Because nothing changes until you open your mouth, until you bring it to the light, until you say, "This thing has had me long enough." You don't have to tell the world. You don't have to confess to a crowd. But you do have to confess to someone real, someone safe, someone who won't judge you, but also won't let you stay stuck. Because the longer you keep it hidden, the more you give it permission to grow. And the more it grows, the more it lies to you, telling you you're not worth healing, telling you it's too late, telling you you'll never be free. But those are lies. And the only way to break a lie is to replace it with truth. And the truth is this: you are not what you struggle with. You are not what you've done. You are not the sum of your lowest moments. You are still chosen, still worthy, still called, still loved. And there is still time to turn it around. You've been trying to win this battle silently, and it's been breaking you. But there's another way. A way where you stop hiding. A way where you stop carrying the shame that was never yours to begin with. You don't need more willpower. You need more light, more truth. More people who can look you in the eye and remind you who you really are when you forget. Because this fight was never meant to be fought in the shadows. And don't think the enemy isn't watching your silence. He's counting on it. He thrives in it. Because if he can keep you quiet, he can keep you defeated. But the moment you speak, you begin to shift the atmosphere. The moment you admit the war, you invite reinforcements. The moment you open your mouth, you break the curse. You're not weak for needing help. You're wise for knowing you can't do it alone. So talk, cry, scream if you have to. But whatever you do, don't stay silent. Because your silence might protect your pride, but it won't protect your purpose. It's time to expose what's been draining you. To name the thing that's been whispering lies into your soul. To say it out loud, not because you're defeated, but because you're done pretending. Because the moment you break your silence is the moment your freedom begins. Willpower is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps you burning. And if you want to break free from addiction, if you truly want to walk out of the chains that have wrapped themselves around your mind, your body, your soul, then you need more than a good feeling. You need structure. You need systems. You need unshakable, undeniable discipline. Because the truth is, you can't rely on motivation when the cravings hit. You can't depend on emotion when the storm is raging. Discipline is the only thing that holds the line when everything else inside you wants to fold. Too many people are praying for freedom while living without boundaries. Asking for change, but refusing to build a strategy. You say you want to be free, but are you willing to build the walls that keep destruction out? Are you willing to cut off access to what keeps pulling you back? Are you willing to wake up early, say no to comfort, create a plan, hold yourself accountable even when no one's watching? Because discipline is what demons hate. Discipline doesn't just stop behavior. It starves the spirit behind the behavior. It closes the doors addiction keeps slipping through. It breaks routine cycles by establishing new patterns, new habits, new pathways in your mind. You can't cast out what you keep scheduling. You can't rebuke what you continue to entertain. If you're still feeding the beast, don't act shocked when it grows stronger. This is not about perfection. You will fall. You will feel weak, but you don't get up by accident. You get up by design. You build a life that forces you to rise again and again. You get strategic about your environment. You remove the triggers. You shut the doors. You delete the access. You guard your time, your eyes, your thoughts like your life depends on it. Because it does. Addiction doesn't die easily. It dies violently. It dies through repetition, through consistency, through the daily grind of choosing what's hard over what's easy. The cravings won't always go away, but your response to them will change. Because the more disciplined you become, the more strength you build. And strength is what sets you free, not luck, not wishful thinking, not emotional highs. Because strength built in silence in the early mornings, in the private decisions nobody sees but heaven keeps record of. People will tell you discipline is boring, but they don't see what it's building in you. They don't see the foundation you're laying, brick by brick, choice by choice. And make no mistake, every decision matters. Every small yes to discipline is a no to destruction. Every time you resist, you're reclaiming territory the enemy thought he owned. You're telling addiction, you don't get to run this anymore. I do. It comes from being sick and tired of being ruled. It comes from understanding that freedom isn't cheap, and it's not easy, but it's worth every sacrifice. You've got to want it more than you want the temporary fix. You've got to want your future more than you want to feel better for 5 minutes. That's where discipline is born. When your desire for freedom outweighs your tolerance for bondage. Don't wait for someone to rescue you. Be your own warrior. Build your own system. Set your own rules. Lock in your own schedule. Make it hard for the old version of you to survive in the life you're building now. Cut off everything that makes relapse easy. Surround yourself with people who demand your growth. Stay in rooms that sharpen your spirit, not numb it. And when it gets hard, and it will, don't retreat. Discipline doesn't run when it gets hard. It tightens its grip and says, we didn't come this far to fall back. You've tried to quit before. But maybe this time it's not about quitting. Maybe it's about becoming. Maybe it's about stepping into a version of you that addiction cannot recognize, cannot control, cannot manipulate. That version of you is disciplined, focused, built for the long fight. This is how freedom happens, not all at once, but day by day, step by step, with discipline as your weapon, with structure as your armor, with strategy as your sword. You're not weak. You've just been untrained, but now you know what to do. Now you build. Now you fight different. Now you rise not on willpower, but on unshakable, relentless, daily discipline. You don't wait to feel ready. You decide this ends with me.